जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Smriti Bhakti Kasam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna Smriti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravan Pracharne Vishnu Vishnu Vadi Pasya
In the class of Bibles.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Charan.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, verse number 19. We'll do word to word. Taranti hi anjasa mrityum nivrittaha yat anugrahat yoginaha saha bhavan kim svit अनुगृह्येता यत् परैहि तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् योगिनः स भवान् किं स्वेत् अनुगृह्येत यत्परैः तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् भवान् किं स्वेत् तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा यदनुग्रहात् योगिनः स भवान् किं स्वेत् अनुगृह्येत यत्परैः. Please repeat. तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् योगिनः स भवान् किं स्वेत् अनुगृह्येत यत्परैः. तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् योगिनः स भवान् किं स्वेत् अनुगृह्येत यत्परैः. तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् योगिनः स भवान् किं स्वेत् तरन्ति ह्यञ्जसा मृत्युं निवृत्ता यदनुग्रहात् योगिनः स भवान् किं स्वेत् Anugriheta yat paraihi. Word for word meanings. Taranti, crossover. He, because. Anjasa, ceasing all material desires. Yat, your. Anugrahat, by mercy. Yoginaha, transcendentalists. Saha, Supreme Lord. Bhavan, you. Kim Swit, never possible. May be favored. Yat, which. Paraihi, by others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Mystics and transcendentalists, by the mercy of the Lord, cross beyond nations by seizing all material desires. It is not by the Supreme Lord, one or birth and death. Here it is stated that yogis or mystics cross beyond nations by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many kinds of mystics, such as the Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, Dhyana Yogi, and Bhakti Yogi. The Karmis particularly search after the favor of the demigods. The Jnanis want to become simply by partial vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, and ultimate devotees want to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead eternally and serve Him. It has already been admitted that the Lord is eternal, and those who want the favor of the Supreme Lord perpetually are also eternal. Therefore, yogis here means devotees. By the mercy of the Lord, devotees can easily pass beyond the nations of birth and death and attain the eternal abode of the Lord. The Lord is therefore not in need of another's favor, because no one is equal to or greater than Him. Actually, everyone needs the favor of the Lord for successful understanding of His human mission. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swami Nitanamne. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitanamne. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Taranti Hyanjasa Mrityum Nivritta Yad Anugrahat Yoginasa Bhavan Kamsut Anugrahyeta Yat Paraihi. Mystics and transcendentalists, by the mercy of the Lord, cross beyond nations by seizing all material desires. It is not possible, therefore, that the Supreme Lord can be favored by others. So, previously we saw in these two chapters, in this chapter and the previous chapter, that the four Kumaras, they tried to enter Vaikuntha planets, and they were stopped by Jai and Vijay at the door. And as a result, the sages were angered, and they cursed the doorkeepers that they may fall down from Vaikuntha, because they find their behavior to be not suitable for Vaikuntha, that they are displaying some envy of devotees of the Lord. So then Jai Vijay fall at the lotus feet of the sages and beg them for their forgiveness, and eventually the Supreme Lord gets to hear about this insult of the four sages by Jai and Vijay, and he himself comes to receive the sages along with his consort Lakshmi. And the sages then smell the aroma of the tulsi leaves coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, and they experience a change in body and heart. And even though they were attracted to impersonal Brahman, they have a change in heart and they start glorifying the Supreme Lord. And the Lord hears the glorification and he congratulates the sages for their nice words, and he recognizes the offense that Jai and Vijay committed at the lotus feet of the sages, and he approves their punishment. And subsequently the Lord praises the sages as Brahmanas, and he apologizes to them on behalf of the doormen. He tells them that it is his mistake that his servants committed such an offense at the lotus feet of the sages, and he takes the blame, saying that a servant's mistakes are actually the mistakes of the master. So he accepts the blame in that way, and he says that the sages, they have received perfection by hearing about the Lord, and if needed, the Lord is willing to even lop off his arm for the sages if the conduct of his arm is found hostile to the Lord. So the Lord is giving so much importance to the devotees. The Lord is saying that he is even willing to chop off his arm for the devotees if the arm commits an offense at the lotus feet of devotees. And he is glorifying the devotees, and he is saying that the Lord's lotus feet eliminates all sins, and all the great sages, they always seek the lotus feet of the Lord. But he is saying that his lotus feet can eliminate all sins only because of his devotees, and only because he is a servitor of his devotees, that his lotus feet have such potency. So means the Lord is glorifying the sages like that, and he subsequently says that everybody in the world, they are seeking after a favor of the Lord's consort Lakshmi, and just to get a small favor from Lakshmi, they perform many sacred vows, they take many austerities, but Lakshmi is constantly serving the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord is actually detached from her. The Lord says that he doesn't need the service of Lakshmi, but even though he is so detached, his consort Lakshmi is constantly serving his lotus feet. So means his lotus feet are so potent that even the goddess of fortune Lakshmi wants to serve the Lord's lotus feet constantly. But the Lord himself is detached. The Lord is only saying that he is glorifying his devotees. And the Lord says that even though many fire sacrifices are performed and many oblations are offered to the fire with butter, with ghee, with so many things are offered to the fire. And the Lord, the fire is said to be the lotus mouth of the Lord, and he accepts all the offerings to the fire as his offerings, that he is eating all the offerings that are given to the fire. But he says more than that, he is satisfied by the food preparations that are given to his devotees, his brahmanas. If someone prepares nice food stuff with ghee and offers them to the brahmanas, the Lord is more satisfied than all the oblations that are offered to the fire in sacrifice. And the Lord says, Yoga Maya is Vaivishesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Means Maya is insurmountable. Nobody can overcome Maya. In the purport to that verse, Prabhupada says that the living entity is conditioned eternally. The conditioned soul is conditioned eternally. Means it's so hard to overcome Maya. It's insurmountable. It's so insurmountable that Prabhupada says the conditioned soul is conditioned eternally. So eternally means we don't know when the conditioned soul has come under illusion, and we don't know when the conditioned soul will get out of illusion. So only by the mercy of the Lord can someone get out of illusion. And when can someone receive the mercy of the Lord? That's up to the Lord. If the Lord wants to grant his devotee mercy, then he grants him. Until then, the conditioned soul is eternally conditioned. He is constantly in the cycle of birth and death. So Lord is the master of such Maya, which is insurmountable. It's so highly potent. Maya, the Lord is the master of such Maya. And everybody takes a bath in the Ganges in order for purification. Even material purification or spiritual purification. Even if they want some material benefits, people take bath in the Ganges. And such Ganges water, it's purifying all the three worlds, and it's nothing but the water which has washed the lotus feet of the Lord. Such purifying water is nothing but water which has washed the lotus feet of the Lord. And that Ganges water is even placed on the head of Lord Shiva, who is also considered the one of the lords of this material universe. Means he's so elevated that he is considered the master of the material universe, and he's also the supreme Vaishnava. And such a high personality like Lord Shiva takes the Ganges water on his head, which is nothing but the water which washes the lotus feet of the Lord. And such a great Lord is saying he himself takes the dust of the lotus feet of devotees. Means the Lord is so highly elevated. Prabhupada says we need to understand how great the Lord is. Everybody knows that God is great, but how great is the Lord? And these are some of the things that Bhagavatam is describing for us to understand the greatness of the Lord. Means that just Bhagavatam is giving us some benchmarks that everybody knows the potency of Maya, of Durga, how great she is, how insurmountable she is. Everybody knows the potency of Ganga, how purifying the water of the Ganga can be, and everybody knows how great a personality Lord Shiva is, and he himself is placing the water that washes the lotus feet of the Lord on his head. So how great the Lord is, we can understand from these descriptions that are given in Bhagavatam. So if we don't read and recite Srimad Bhagavatam, if we don't hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then it's hard for us to understand actually how great the Lord is. We can take darshan of the Lord, we can go look at the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we can try to admire the form of the Lord, but without hearing about the glories of the Lord from a scripture like Bhagavatam, it's almost impossible that we can understand the glories of the Lord. So here we can see that the Lord is saying that He Himself takes the dust of the lotus feet of devotees on His head. And so if the Lord Himself is taking the dust of the lotus feet of devotees on His head, what to speak of people like us, who are so fallen, at least speaking of myself, who so it's very important that we take the dust of the lotus feet of devotees in order to get the mercy of the Lord. And moreover, the Lord is saying the brahmanas, cows and defenseless creatures are the Lord's body. And if someone sees them different from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they commit a grave offense and they'll even see Yamaras, they can even go to hell. So brahmanas, cows and defenseless creatures, for example, we can say, old people, women, children, even they are considered defenseless creatures, and they are also considered not different from the body of the Supreme Lord. And if someone considers them different and if they commit offense at even these personalities, then they'll see Yamaraj. When I was in Kurmagram, this devotee in Kurmagram, his name is Trimangananda Prabhu. So he served for about 14 years in both Nandagram and Kurmagram, and he was mentioning that this Varnashrama farm communities are so important because they can actually protect these people who the Lord Himself is saying are different from or not different from His body. The brahmanas, cows, women, children and elderly. So these 5 people, they can actually be protected on farm communities. So without farm communities, actually we can see that cow protection is actually almost impossible. And even though the brahmanas can be there in these cities, the atmosphere is so polluted that even for brahmanas to maintain the high standard of purity that is required is very hard. And women are constantly under threat in cities from many different factors. The lusty atmosphere of the city, and children also. Children are bound to go to either they are bound to see sinful things because everything happens in front of everybody's faces in the cities now. When I came back from India in JFK, I saw I was actually trying to get out of the airport to go to the hotel, and I saw these 2 old couple, and they were face in face with each other, and I was thinking, this is so gross, this is so disgusting. You come back to America and you immediately see that it's so strong, and people are also at the airport. I saw the workers who try to take people outside the airport in wheelchairs. They're trying to impress each other by telling some jokes, telling some nice things about each other, opposite sexes. So this feeling of impressing the opposite sexes, this feeling of mixing with the opposite sex, it's constantly there in the external world. So even if we don't want to be in such an atmosphere, just by being present in the cities, we get to see all these things, and it's impossible actually to avoid to avoid seeing all these things, to avoid getting polluted by these things. So, therefore, I mean, even when we go out on book distribution, the sadhana is very much stressed that we have to chant our rounds very strictly. We finish our 16 rounds before we go out on book distribution. We stay in the association of devotees as much as possible. We take only prasadam. So all these things, they protect the devotees from this influence of the external atmosphere. So living in a farm, it's easier to not get contaminated by these things, because most of the time we associate with devotees. We are constantly in association with devotees. So devotees are protected, cows are protected, and even women are protected. Women also in the farm, either the women are married or they are going to be married, like that. So there is less threat from the opposite sex, that they can be taken advantage of in some way, like that. And the children, they are trained in gurukuls on the farm. They are only taught spiritual education, and even if they are taught some material education, it is taught in the proper context by devotees. So they are less prone to be attacked by the slaughterhouse education system that is available outside in the cities of whichever country we are in. Cities are especially polluting to our consciousness. And similarly, the elderly needs to be cared for. So to care for the elderly, we need actually a lot of time. We need the atmosphere where we can actually spend some time with the elderly, where they are given the importance that is necessary for seeking their guidance. Because in one of the interviews that I saw with His Holiness Bhaktivikas Swami, he mentions that the elderly, they have a very important role in the society, that they can give spiritual guidance to the young people. But the elderly in the cities, they are just considered as a burden, that they cannot generate income that is necessary, they cannot work, and they cannot contribute positively to the society through their hard labor. And because the elderly, if they are not spiritually advanced, or if the young people, they are not trained in spiritual knowledge, they don't have the necessary will to approach the elderly to seek spiritual guidance. But in farm communities, the elderly, even if they are not contributing physically to the farms, just by their presence, their spiritual guidance, they can be a great asset to farm communities. And young people, children, young people, they can actually serve the elderly, and that can be a great way of progressing in spiritual life. Because for children, more than getting this book knowledge, it is also important that they get practical knowledge, that they're serving the Vaishnavas, they're serving the elderly, and they're gaining practical knowledge by offering these services. So in this way, the farm communities, they can actually serve as a great atmosphere for serving the body of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord himself is saying that Brahmanas, cows, and defenseless creatures means women, children, elderly. They can, by serving these personalities, we can actually render service to the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, yeah, this is important. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, because Krishna created this Varnashrama Dharma, this Varnashrama is actually non-different from the Supreme Lord. So, this Varnashrama also is actually the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord Himself created it, and His creation is non-different from Him. So, means there is some difference, but at the same time there is no difference, because the Lord's creation and the Lord Himself, they are non-different. And in yesterday's verse, Janardhan Prabhu also mentioned how the Lord is the only eternal factor, and even though there are many great personalities such as demigods, the demigods are all temporary. The material manifestation is temporary, and the Lord is eternal, and the Lord's dharma, this Varnashrama Dharma, is also eternal. So, this eternality is stressed when we speak about the Lord. We say that He is eternal. The living entity is eternal, and the relationship or the dharma between the living entity and the Supreme Lord is also eternal, and Varnashrama Dharma is also eternal. So, these eternal things, the process that is also given by the acharyas, it is also eternal, and by applying ourselves to this process, we can realize the eternality of our selves. And in today's verse, the Lord is saying that only by the mercy of the Lord can the mystics and transcendentalists cross beyond nations by ceasing all material desires. So, like I was saying earlier, the material energy is very strong. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mamamaya Duratya. And the living entity is actually considered eternally conditioned. Even though we are practicing devotees, even though we've been chanting 16 rounds, some of us for decades, some of us for a few years, some of us for a couple of years. Some of us may be born in devotee families, but even if someone has been chanting for this whole lifetime, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the material energy is so strong that it is impossible to surmount it. It is impossible. Means he's not saying it's very hard or anything. Prabhupada writes in the purports that it is impossible to surmount this material nature. It is so strong. Such an impossible thing can only be done by the mercy of the Lord. And we saw how it's important for us to understand that the Lord is actually different from everything. Means the Lord is different from the demigods, the Lord is different from the insurmountable material energy, and there is no one else like the Supreme Personality of God. There is no one else like Krishna. So, because there is no one else like Krishna, only He can give such mercy. We see here that how great the Supreme Lord is. We see here that the water of the Ganges, it's purifying all three worlds, and Lord Shiva takes Ganges on his head. Lord Shiva is such a great personality. It's impossible for someone to reach the heights of Lord Shiva. Means he's such a great personality, and he is keeping Ganga on his head, and Ganga is nothing but the water which washes the lotus feet of the Lord. So such a personality is, there is no one else like the Lord. So even though there are so many great things in this world, in the world outside, there is no one else who is as great as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so this liberation can only be given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only by the mercy of the Lord can someone cease their material desires. Otherwise it's impossible. Otherwise they will have material desires. And we can see, for example, how great the Lord is. The Lord, he's saying that he doesn't need favor of anyone else. Everybody in the world needs the favor of the Lord, but the Lord doesn't need favor of anyone else. And everybody needs the favor of the Lord. Means even great personalities like Lord Shiva, they need the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the Lord doesn't need favor of anyone else. But the Lord himself is coming to the four Kumaras and he is glorifying them. He is apologizing to them, he is glorifying them as if he needs something from them. When we glorify someone, usually we need something from them. We glorify Krishna and we know that Krishna can give us something. That's why we are glorifying. It's very rare that people, pure devotees glorify the Lord without any motivation. But generally, when we glorify someone, we need something. We have like some desire, either material or desire for liberation, or even if we are seeking pure devotion, that is also some kind of a desire. We are saying, okay, the Lord, we need something. We know that you have something that can actually please us. So, but the Lord is coming and glorifying the Kumaras, and he doesn't need anything from them. He doesn't need the mercy of the Kumaras. He's saying, oh, you are Brahmanas, you are even greater than me. But he doesn't need anything from them. But still he is glorifying them. Who can do like that? Only the Lord and pure devotees. Prabhupada even glorified his disciples. He said, I am just doing some small service, but you are helping me. You are arranged by my spiritual master and you are helping me. And he was glorifying them, but he wasn't glorifying them in order to encourage them to expand his movement or anything. He was just glorifying them without expecting anything in return. So such glorification cannot be done by mundane personalities. Only the Supreme Lord can do it, and the Supreme Lord's pure devotees can glorify like that. So means the Supreme Lord, we can understand how different the Lord is, how detached the Lord is, by understanding what the pastimes of the Lord are from Bhagavatam. So means that is actually a sign of renunciation. Renunciation means that we don't need anything from anybody, but still we are giving them, still we are glorifying them. So pure devotees are renounced because they don't need anything from anyone else. They don't need anything from demigods. They don't need anything from mundane personalities. They don't need any favor from government officials. They only need the favor of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada was traveling on the Jaladuta from India to America, from Kolkata to New York City, and he faced many challenges on the way, but he never asked favor from anyone. He could have asked the captain for some favor. Okay, I have some, heart attack, I have some disease, so I need you to show some mercy on me. Can you maybe stop the ship for some time? And the captain was actually very favorable for Srila Prabhupada. He was very respectful of Prabhupada. He even asked Prabhupada to speak on Janmashtami. He invited all his crew members to hear Prabhupada on Janmashtami. So even then, Prabhupada was not seeking favors from people of this world or demigods. He only seek the favor of the Supreme Lord. So he is renounced. So Prabhupada is so renounced that he can only rely on the favor of the Supreme Lord. So renunciation means that they are only seeking favor from the Supreme Lord. But even though we are practicing devotional service, we are trying to, be renounced, we seek favors constantly. Know that we are maintain ourselves. So means these are all favors that we are seeking, and without these favors we cannot even perform the practice of devotional service. So we can see how and where our renunciation can be. But when someone is actually renounced, the Supreme Lord is the most renounced person, and we can see that the Supreme Lord is glorifying the 4 Kumaras, and even though he is glorifying the 4 Kumaras, he doesn't need anything. And even though Lakshmi is serving the Supreme Lord constantly, he doesn't actually expect the service that Lakshmi Devi is offering the Supreme Lord. So such renunciation we can only see in Supreme Lord and the devotees. And and therefore it is important for us to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam and understand what these qualities are. There are 6 opulences of the Supreme Lord. We see that the Supreme Lord is, the most wealthy, the most famous, the most strong, the most beautiful, the most renounced, and the most knowledgeable. So these 6 opulences are there. And we can see how the Supreme Lord is renounced here. And such renunciation, it cannot be expected, from other people. Means from mundane personalities, even devotees like Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is considered very renounced, but even Lord Shiva actually needs the favor of the Supreme Lord. So so the Supreme Lord is renounced, and then the devotees, pure devotees, are renounced because they don't need anyone else's favor. They only need the favor of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada here mentions that yoginaha, the transcendentalists here mean devotees, because only devotees can recognize this, that they need the favor of the Supreme Lord. There are different forms of yogas, there are different kinds of yogis, karma yogis, jnana yogis, dhyana yogis, but they don't directly acknowledge the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. So karma yogis, they they even take shelter of demigods. They perform fruitive activities with the intention to please demigods, and they get favors from demigods, and they have material desires. They seek elevation to higher planets. And jnana yogis, they are seeking after knowledge. They are seeking after impersonal liberation, and they do not acknowledge the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. Only devotees can acknowledge that the Supreme Lord is the only person who is capable of giving such mercy, that someone can seize all their material desires and cross beyond this nations, cross beyond this material energy. So, and only by hearing from scriptures like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita can we understand these things. Even though in Varnashrama everybody has a role to play, there are 4 Varnas, 4 Ashramas, and everybody has their role to play. But it's actually centered around hearing and chanting. So this hearing and chanting, without hearing and chanting, it can become mundane, because we can easily miss out on understanding the glories of the Lord, understanding how great the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, and how great His mercy is, that He can even give someone this liberation from this hard to surmount, impossible to surmount material nature. So, just by performing our prescribed duties in Varnashrama, we can be pious. We can perform pious activities. We can be not sinful. But in order for us to transcend this mundane world, in order for us to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, it has to be centered around the ninefold process of devotional service, starting with hearing and chanting. So, anyway, I was reading these verses and I was thinking, this is such nectar, this Bhagavatam, because it's easy for us to seek some other way for us to understand the Supreme Lord, but nothing can give us so much mercy as hearing about the Supreme Lord from His devotees. So this hearing can actually help us get a lot of mercy. And even I was listening to this Bhagavad Gita lecture by Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, Maya Sakta Manah Partha, in this shloka, Maya Sakta Manah Partha, Yogam Yunjan Madashraya, Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasyasi Tachrinu. So, in order for us to develop some attachment for the Supreme Lord, we have to hear about the Supreme Lord. Whatever we hear about, we develop attachment for that thing. So, it's, we hear about many things. We have to hear about, many different things for us to even, survive in this material world. But by hearing about the Supreme Lord, we can develop attachment for the Supreme Lord. And that attachment is, it's a very crucial thing. Prabhupada says, just by this love, even if someone doesn't have so much piety, so even if someone has committed many sins, even if they have broken 4 regulative principles, because they have developed some attachment, some love for the Supreme Lord, then they'll render some service. Because when we hear someone, when we hear how great someone is, and if we love someone, then naturally we render some service. So we render service naturally out of love, even though there is lack of piety. Generally, people render devotional service. They perform some service to the Lord because of some pious activities, because of their previous pious activities. But this process of hearing and chanting is so strong, so powerful, that just by hearing about the Supreme Lord, developing some attachment for Him, we can start rendering some service to the Lord. And even if we don't have piety from previous lives, even if we have lost our piety, we can again get back into this path of devotional service and continue on in that way, and eventually we can hope to expect the mercy of the Lord. Like, Brahma says in 10th canto, Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bunjana ivatma kritam upakam ridvag vapurbhir vidadan namaste jiveta yo muktipade sadaya bhak. Means they become rightful heirs for the mercy of the Supreme Lord. If someone, is tolerant, if they think that, okay, whatever suffering they are going through in their life, it's because of their previous actions, and just by hearing and offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord with body, mind and words, they become rightful heirs for getting this mercy of the Supreme Lord. So it's such a great, powerful process, and no one else, no one else could have, it's by the mercy of the Lord that Prabhupada, came to the West, and he gave this process to everybody, to deliver everybody, no matter, who they are, no matter, how sinful they may be, how pious they may be. He gave such a powerful process, and it's hard to imagine the mercy that Prabhupada gave actually. So it's good to constantly remind ourselves the supremacy of the mercy that we have received, that Prabhupada gave us, that that we are able to hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day, that we are able to chant Hare Krishna every day. Because it's actually not a guaranteed thing that someone is chanting 16 rounds, hearing Bhagavatam. I was telling Navani Hoda Prabhu yesterday that I checked my previous job, what's going on, where would I be if I continued in that job. And my manager actually had quit his position, and so I think he was actually very merciful that he wasn't giving me any work to do. So I got like I did almost nothing in the last few months that I was working, because my manager was actually, he was planning to quit, and he quit. Now I'm sure now work from home is actually not there. Everybody has to go to office, they have to work. So people have to go back to office, they have to work hard, like 10 hours a day, because office means people have to work 10 hours a day. And there is also this new challenge that people have to learn, this new technology, artificial intelligence, chat GPT. They have to compete with this latest technology. And without the mercy of the devotees, I wouldn't have given up all my attachments in Canada. And with such strong obligations, we can imagine how hard it can be for someone to even chant 16 rounds. It's not a given that someone is able to chant 16 rounds. It's actually a very hard thing that someone can get focused time every day in the morning to chant their rounds, to attend the morning program, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, be in the association of devotees. These things are very rare. So I was appreciating the good fortune that I was given. We can if we see the material world now and what we were doing, and if we extrapolate where we could have been, we can appreciate at least a little bit the mercy that we've been given. So I'll stop speaking here. If we have any comments or discussion, questions.
I have a question. You just mentioned that people always don't seek the favors of personalities, but just before Prabhupada got on the ship, he had to go and seek Srimati Mukherjee's favor, and that he had to get on that ship. ship, and she had to give him a free ticket because Prabhupada didn't have any money to get on that. And then there's so many other instances where he was writing to people to, grant him money or do this, that. So how do you understand that?
Means even if Prabhupada didn't get, ticket from Srimati Sumati Moraji, he would have probably come in some way because he had such strong attachment towards the order of his spiritual master that he was just seeking some way because, ultimately Krishna would have arranged everything for Srila Prabhupada. But, Prabhupada had to show us by example that, in the material world, we have to do some work. Everybody has to perform some work, some duty. So Prabhupada, at least to set an example, he has to show that he is just performing his duty in order to fulfill the mission of his spiritual master. And after that we see that Krishna, Prabhupada gets a heart attack and everything is smooth. The captain says, the Atlantic is never this calm, and we are experiencing this calmness only because you are traveling with us. So, we can maybe see it only as Prabhupada setting an example that we have to perform our duty in fulfilling the mission of our spiritual master. But he didn't really need the favor of Sumati Moraji. He would have fulfilled the mission of his spiritual master because Krishna would have arranged one thing or another.
Yeah, my understanding also of that whole is that we'll see Acharya, we see that Dante Trinakam, how does that go?
Dante Nidaya Trinakam.
Dante Nidaya Trinakam Padayoni Pratyakritva Sachaku Shatam Tad Aham Pravini He Sadhu Sakala Eha Vidaya Dura Chaitanya Chanda Charani Kurutan Ragaham. And this is our line of book distribution. We do glorify the materialists to some extent for their favor. Now, what they're actually, of course, the pure devotee doesn't have an idea to try to get something out of them. They want to give. But we do glorify the materialist in order to facilitate Krishna's service. And so there may be seemingly like asking for favor, but actually it's not that Prabhupada is needing a favor from Moraji, that actually Prabhupada gave great benefit to Srimati Moraji because she was, she understood this is a sadhu, and that's a nice culture of our ashram. She understood this is a sadhu, I should give him. And she gave that. Now for the, you must be going back to God. Something like, there's no way, it's like she facilitated the whole Krishna consciousness movement. The Supreme Personality got it, orchestrated that. So sometimes we'll see, a lot, even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave great respect and honor to the British. We see so many times like that, but we see that specifically this is the mood that, and we see that on book distribution also. We go out and we glorify even materialists. Oh, you're such a great person, you're so wonderful. Oh, why don't you do me a favor and give me some money and take this book? What is it that give up your hogwash ideas and surrender to Lord Chaitanya? That's what we're actually saying. So in that way,
in the background, we know that even though we are glorifying them, it is for their benefit.
Yeah, but we still ask them a favor.
Yeah.
Never just like Prabhupada may even ask, because what is it? Nirande Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Muchyate. That's our principle. Not that Krishna's there, I don't need anyone. Now we see that Krishna's provided these things. Now let me use them in the service. We're not renunciates. We're not dry renunciates. We apply renunciation. So it's just that we do seek favor, but we seek favor on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to serve the Supreme Personality, not for our own personal benefit. For that we don't care. And if we don't get, we know we'll get it somewhere, like you're saying. We know we'll get it somewhere, but we utilize it. So like we're out on the street, we don't know where to go. Oh, Krishna will direct me from in the heart. No. Prabhupada often had the disciples. So what will you do? He said, sure, Prabhupada will become pure devotees or chant Hare Krishna and everything we saw. That's impractical. Prabhupada told him, you got to use your brain and you gotta see that Krishna's provided these things. Okay, I have to utilize these things. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's no way that you're not going to get around not having getting the favor of the materials. Of course, we see it as favor of Krishna. We don't see it as them being merciful to us. We see it as Krishna.
The favor they are receiving is more, but somehow.
Yeah. Just the impure devotees, they'll give that example of they'll try to get some favor from some materialists. Of course, like you're saying, they don't ultimately, they're independent of all those things. And they're showing us in this world how to act in this world, that we shouldn't just because they're materials, we don't talk to them. No, utilize whatever there is there. For the proper principle and action of devotional service. So we'll see that pure devotees also seemingly seek favor. They do get favors and ask for favors and things from other people, but only for their benefit, not for their own benefit.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about what you were saying. I have a comment and question. I was just reading how materialists are forced, this Pavarga, they're forced to labor hard in the struggle for resistance. They have to. But one symptom of the mercy of Krishna is that the devotees relieve from doing that. So the symptom of the devotee is that he doesn't have to labor like an ass, like these gross materialists. So Krishna bestowed his favor on him by relieving from the situation. And I have a question. You were saying how we don't, when we glorify the Lord, we're seeking reciprocation. And you cited, like, even if we glorify the Lord, we ask for pure devotional service, right? So I understand how ultimately the highest thing is that we just glorify the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord, right? But if we're glorifying the Lord and asking for pure devotional service, is that not still a pure desire? You understand my question? Because you were saying you shouldn't glorify the Lord in exchange for something. You cited, you might glorify the Lord because we want pure devotional service. But is that still not a pure desire?
It's means if so a lot of the times, even if you are seeking, for example, in material consciousness, practicing devotees might ask for pure devotion, but in the back of the mind, we know that pure devotion means that it's the highest thing. It will give me, ecstasy or something. Because it's, what is pure devotion? To understand pure devotion from, a mundane perspective, it's very hard. Even to understand pure devotion, we have to, have like a pure consciousness. So when we are seeking, even when we are asking for pure devotion, it's the purest thing we can ask from the Supreme Lord, but it can also have some mundane contamination, because a devotee might be thinking, okay, if I ask for pure devotion, Krishna might think I'm pure, Krishna might give me all pleasure, Krishna might give me ecstasy, I'll be happy, I'll be fulfilled in my life. And these things are mundane. So, but when a pure devotee is glorifying the Supreme Lord, he is not necessarily asking for something. He is just glorifying the Lord. And even if the Lord is giving him hardship, he is still glorifying the Lord.
We see Bhakti on top of pray like that. And all that desire is pure devotional service, not Lord.
Yeah.
So our specific duty is to follow after that. So even if somebody has mature desire, but that prayer itself, like Bhakti Thakur says like that, I submit my prayer, although I am fallen, although I have all these things, I'm envious, all of these things, the only thing I have, my Lord, is let me...
We have to pray. What I was mentioning was...
saying that it's like a mundane thing.
No, it's not mundane, it's not mundane.
To become happy.
No, I was...
genuinely praying from like a position of, like, let me attain pure devotional service. understanding that unless they're such fools, they haven't read Prabhupada's books and praying that let me get to pure devotion service. The idea of pure devotion service is working a job and having your kids grow up to be doctors. Obviously that's wrong. But if somebody, a devotee is genuinely practicing and he's saying, my dear Lord, please give me devotion service, I'm suffering in this material world. That's not specifically,
it's not
thing. That's just a clarity that it is. It's a separate thing. Of course, it's not purely. We're not. But Prabhupada says that the intention of purity is as good as becoming pure. The intention of purity is what Krishna cares about, because it's not like, oh, you're not pure. You pray to me like that. You're not pure. I'm not.
No, we have to pray something.
So it's the point that it is. It's like that. Who's giving class? I think. Who is it? You, Mango. The Mango. Guru Maharaj mentioned that the unripe mango. So Krishna takes that as like a desire to attain pure devotional service. He doesn't take that as like, oh, this is a mundane thing. Although we have mundane desire, but when we're praying like that, that is actually a position we want. Otherwise, there's no question of it. So,
the intention is important. Okay. So
it can't be just like, okay, it's mundane. It's only mundane if you're asking for, what is it? Jai Jagadisha Hari. What is that? That's the song, the famous song in India. Anyways, they ask for so many, give me nice cars, give me nice home, give me nice.
Oh, yeah.
But, someone who
what is that song?
So any practicing devotee.
Dhanam Jaihi, Janam Dehi, Rupavati Bharya Dehi.
He's saying
Janam Dehi.
Dhanam Dehi.
Dhanam Dehi, Janam Dehi, Rupavati Bharya Dehi.
So a devotee who's practicing and understands, I want to surrender to the Lord. I have all these material desires, and yes, I'm suffering and I'm not happy, but I want to be happy by serving you, my Lord.
Means
even that is,
in terms of renunciation, I was making that comparison to that. If someone is completely renounced, they are only seeking the favor of the Lord. But obviously, at different levels, we'll have to pray to the Lord, because otherwise, I'm just making a point that there is such a level of renunciation that devotees are not seeking anything. The Lord is renounced, pure devotees are renounced, and for us, we definitely pray for pure devotion, and we have to pray. But I was just making a point that.
I think there's that one verse that I think it's in Ten Candles that even if you desire for me to suffer, that's my happiness, right? That's like one of the highest. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right? But it seems that you can still be renounced even though you pray for pure devotional service. It still seems that you can still. It's not that you're not renounced because you pray for pure devotional service, but of course there's degrees of
degrees are there.
There's degrees of that's the highest. Like even if you cause me to suffer, Lord, I'm still gonna love you. But that's like I'm not on that level. I'm not on a level where like I'm suffering. I'm like, okay, this is my happiness. I'm suffering. The Lord is happy seeing me suffer, so I'm happy. It's like as far as for sadhana bhaktas, it seems like that desire to pray for pure devotional service should be encouraged, and it does actually.
I agree. It should be encouraged.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Most of Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So you see, you can look at Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, chapter. What is this? Not showing me. Okay. Canto 2, chapter 4, text number 19. There's a whole series of prayers that Shukadeva Goswami speaks. But we see all pure devotees, they always ask for one thing. May the Supreme Lord always be pleased with me. Right? This is a common theme. Even with the gopis, even Ashrishava Padaratan Pinashtumam Adarshanan Marmahatam Karotava. He's my Lord birth after birth. So the pure devotees, they at least pray for one thing. The Supreme Lord always considered them to be the servant of the servant. And whether the Lord wants to trample us or he wants to embrace us, but please they play at least, please give me the opportunity of devotional service. That's one thing that all devotees across the board, from the lowest level all the way to the highest level, they all pray for this.
even in this exchange, Jai Vijay being cursed by the sages, when Jai Vijay were cursed,
Yeah,
they also say,
they are also, okay,
yeah,
material
taking off
world forever, but at least let me serve you birth after birth,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's one thing which is there across the border, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, Prabhu, you were saying that sometimes that we perform bhakti because of pious activities. Could you explain that? I couldn't wrap
Uh,
my head around that.
if bhakti is independent of pious activities, but if someone is pious, they are more likely to take a bhakti. Uh,
We, I mean, then how do you understand this Janma Ishwarya Shuddha Shribi Etamana Madafuman? How do you understand all this? They're very pious,
mhm.
no? So how do you understand that point? Like
Uh,
why Krishna says Twam Akinchana Gochara.
mhm.
No, so it's like how do you understand that exactly?
Uh, means I actually don't know these two verses so well, Prabhu, but
Oh, I mean, it's like this Kunti Devi says the Supreme Lord is the property of one who doesn't possess anything.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So how do we how do we understand this?
Means generally speaking, I was saying what I meant was if someone commits a lot of sins, uh, then for them to have attraction for the Lord. For example, this you know, Chaturvida bhajante maam jana
Mm,
sukritino.
mm,
So
mm.
that kind of sukriti. So
Sukriti. You're talking about Sukriti, not Punya.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Means
okay. Thank you for
yeah,
the
yeah.
clarification. Okay, okay. And and this one other point, Prabhu, you were saying is that devotional service depends upon the will of the Lord, right?
Uh-huh.
For a person, could you explain that?
No, no.
Because
I was saying the getting out of material desire is dependent on the will of the Lord. Means to get liberation, we have to means if we need to have the favor of the Supreme Lord. Means if the Supreme Lord is willing to give us His favor, then we can get liberation. That's what.
but see, here comes like a theological, what's it called? I'm forgetting the technical word for it, but you see, the point is that if it depends on the Supreme Lord, then the Lord could be accused of being partial, right? Like, why doesn't He just give it to everyone else? Why doesn't He give it to everyone?
Why does it? Why does He
Why,
give it
why
to?
does like it depends on Him, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If getting rid of
Oh, yeah,
material
yeah,
does,
yeah. I
so
see
He
what you
could
mean.
be, so what's the answer?
I mean, the living entity's desire should also be there. Uh,
Okay, is there something else? It's a very important thing, actually. It's a very important thing. There's one more thing, actually. Devotional service actually doesn't depend upon, you see, in the Bhagavatam, it says Yadrichaya. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote a whole book called Madhurya Kadambini on
mm.
this. And the crux of the whole matter is that if bhakti depends upon the Supreme Lord, then those who don't get devotional service, it is a fault of the Lord.
No, liberation.
Right.
Liberation is.
Liberation also, like but you were, as far as I remember, Prabhu, maybe my memory might be tricking me, but it seemed like you were referring to that. And
I see.
liberation, if you're talking about liberation, even Lord Shiva can give liberation, but bhakti is the thing that exclusively comes from the devotees of Lord Vishnu. You see, only a bhakta can give us bhakti. The Supreme
Yeah.
Lord does not mess with the free will of the living entity, actually.
Brahmande Brahmite Kuna Bhagyavan Jiva, by the mercy of the Supreme
But,
Personality, one gets
I
the
can't hear him. What's he saying? Prabhu, could you come closer?
I've read Prabhupada right like that, that without the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot come to the platform of devotional service. And we also have Brahmande Brahmite Kuna Bhagyavan Jiva,
Guru
specifically
Krishna.
talking that by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one gets the spiritual master, and by the mercy of the spiritual master, one attains
One gets a
Vaishnava.
guru. So right.
So
So the point is Guru Krishna Prasadify, right? So the spiritual master. This is the whole crux of the Madhurya Kadambini. I can send you the
yeah,
it's on the Veda base. You can look at it, right? The whole point is that first we need the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Right? The minute we desire Chaitaguru in the heart, he sees, okay, this person is desiring devotional service. And then he sends the bona fide guru to give him bhakti.
So isn't that the mercy of the Supreme Personality Godhead there is also?
So is the living entity desires, the minute he desires it, the bhakta has to give someone bhakti. You see, this is the whole point. That the
But
devotees have to
one question, sorry. But you said like the Chaita Guru then blesses us to be able to come to the spiritual master, right?
he directs our wandering, right? So the minute the living entity has a desire, right? Oh, I want to be close to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Or like, I want to know God or something like this, right? If the living entity has a desire, then is a bhakta who gives devotional service to the living entity, right? Because Vishwanath Chakravarti, I can send you this. This is a whole section.
Yeah.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, huh?
Sorry, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes this very important point that if it's completely up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then those who are not taking devotional service, they can just blame it on the Supreme Lord. Oh, he's not giving me devotional service. But actually, it's the mercy of the devotees. When the devotee desires that such a person becomes a devotee, then at that point of time, the Supreme Lord starts to what's the right one? Yeah, he starts to make arrangements for the living entity to take to devotional service. So both things are there. Like but the main thing is that is a mercy of the Vaishnavas.
Yeah.
The minute
I don't think Charan was, at least from hearing from this end, it doesn't seem like that he wasn't applying that. Because many times in Srila Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada also says that only by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can attain devotional service.
It says in the purport today.
Yeah.
no
So,
I know you.
so it doesn't,
I read the
I'm
last
just
line
saying,
of the
I'm not saying
purport.
it's, I don't think
Prabhupada
he was
says
applying
actually
mercy
everyone
towards
needs the
Prabhupada.
favor of the Supreme Lord for understanding his human mission. That's what the purport says, right? But the
So
main
that's,
thing is, huh?
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
The main thing is that devotional service is given to a person by another devotee. That's the point. It's like by the mercy of the Vaishnavas that you get Krishna.
Sure, nobody's arguing against that. There's, of course, that's
But
there in so
it's
many
also that
places.
verse, Machita Sarva Durgani Mahapasada, that you can only cross over by the grace of Krishna, by the mercy of Tarishasi. You can only cross over Maya, Durga, by by by
My
mercy of
mercy,
Krishna.
yeah.
Yeah, by Machita Sarva Durgani Mahapasada Tarishasi. So Krishna is saying that you can only attain me by my grace in that verse as well, though.
1 minute, Prabhu. Atachetva. If
Machita Sarva Durgani
you'll be able to cross over conditioned life by my. There's no doubt.
by grace.
Yeah, because Krishna is personally instructing Arjuna. Arjuna being his pure devotee. But the point I'm making is that only a pure devotee can give us pure devotional service. That's the whole crux. No one is disagreeing with Krishna's mercy, Krishna's grace. No one is disagreeing with that, right? But we need the mercy of a pure devotee in order for us to take to pure devotional service. For example, so many people were walking around this Western world wherever. If it wasn't for the mercy of Prabhupada, they would have never gotten the mercy of Krishna.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point I'm making.
So I guess you're saying that the grace is by the Supreme Lord giving the devotee, essentially. His
I'm sorry,
grace,
bro. What did you say?
his mercy is giving the devotee. That's the only way you can understand it. Krishna's mercy, when he says only by my mercy you can attain me, his mercy is giving somebody his devotee.
Yeah, that's the whole. Without the devotion, without the bhakti is impossible. Vishwanath Chakravarti actually literally writes a whole book, Madhurya Kadambini. That's the whole crux of this book. The first shower of mercy. And he quotes this verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I can tell you which verse that is. But without that, there is no question of us practicing devotional service. Without anyone coming to Krishna consciousness, you think about it. Anybody, without the mercy of Prabhupada, they wouldn't be here, right? This section is called okay. The Lord and Shuddha Bhakti. It's in the first section of it. I can send it for the devotees to read. But in this section, he is quoting. I'm sorry, I'm unable to find the verse. Please bear with me for a minute. Oh yeah, he quotes 11:28, right? In the Bhagavatam 11.20.8, Vishwanath Chavitaku is quoting that, and he says bhakti has been described as yadrichaya. Yadrichaya means own volition. Right? Bhakti appears as a own volition, and Sridhar Swami he makes this comment that bhakti is free to act at will. But then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur goes on to explain this point further and further and further, and he speaks about the same point we are discussing right now. Right? He speaks about the same point where he says that if the where is that? Yeah, if it is frequently pointed out, sorry. Yeah, he makes this point that, yeah, there you go. Yet one may raise the question as to why the Lord's mercy is often seen to be unequally dispensed. Is the Supreme Lord guilty of partiality? If the Lord's grace is causeless, then he must shower it everywhere without consideration. But it is seen that his mercy is not freely given to all. Should we blame Krishna for being biased or even unfair? Right? And then he goes on. He speaks about why he, like, why he gives it to some people, why he doesn't give it to some people. And then at the end of it he says, hence we can, when we declare that the devotees cause us mercy is the reason which inspires bhakti. That's the whole point. You see, and he goes on. I can send you this whole. It's in the Veda base. We can read it. But the grace of the Supreme Lord, all these things, they first come, when the devotee decides to do it. You can see it's a whole section. It's the first part of it, the Madhurya Kadambini. It's in the Veda base for all devotees to see. So that's my pramana for what I'm saying. Whatever I'm saying, that's my pramana.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about what you're saying, because that's all the
Mm.
way Charitamrita, that's the point.
Mm.
At least in terms of the statement that without the mercy of the Supreme Personality Godhead that we can't attain devotional service, assumes if you've read Bhagavatam, if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's just a given that, okay, we understand, and as you guys mentioned, without Prabhupada, we wouldn't have also got any of this. He mentioned that in the class also. That I don't think there's the implication or a kind of a idea that we don't, the devotee is removed from it. I think anybody that's kind of reading that, understanding, and as he was mentioning also, Srila Prabhupada without Srila Prabhupada coming to the West, we wouldn't have had any of this at all, and we wouldn't have got pure devotion service or devotion service in general, whatever stage one may be at. So there is a general understanding there that we have. I don't think any of us are thinking also that we got the mercy of the Supreme Personality Godhead. I think we all understand that. And he mentioned that at the end also, that without the devotees, I wouldn't have even come to Krishna consciousness. I wouldn't have even have the ability to quit my job and all of that. I think there's an underlying understanding there that is what it meant by the mercy of the Supreme. I don't think any of us read Prabhupada's books and say, okay, it's Krishna's mercy that I'm here. We all say that, of course, but we understand that that's ultimately through our Guru's mercy, the devotees that are around us. So I think that was implied also.
Okay.
We gotta end soon. You can ask.
Is that the thing that we were just looking at?
What?
I mean, because I wanted him to speak on it.
Okay.
I just really. Prabhu, you said about Charan Prabhu's point about people having like some pious background and being more inclined to take devotional service, and then you said, well, if he's talking about Sukriti or Punya,
Mm-hmm.
I found this verse is Sukriti Shabde Kahe Krishna Hetu Krishna Kripa Hetu Punya Se Yanyar Hai Fela Pai Se Dhanya. Sorry, I messed up that meter. But anyways, Sukriti and Punya, I was hoping you could like describe the difference between the two, because here it's Sukriti is translated as Sukriti, and then in quotes it says pious activities, and then Punya is also translated as pious activities.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between?
So there's punya in from one part. It could also mean karma kanda, like you plant so many trees, you dig so many wells, you feed so many people, you get some kind of. But then also Prabhupada has this krita punya punja also, heaps and heaps of pious activities. So when it's given in regards to heaps and heaps of pious activities, that is regard to heaps and heaps of devotional service that is done. That's why sometimes the Supreme Personality of God is also known as Punya Shravana Kirtana. A person upon hearing about whom you increase your good fortune. So this good fortune over here speaks about good fortune in relation to devotional service. Yeah. But the other punya, it comes and it goes. Like, you perform all these things. If, for example, King Niga doing so many pious activities, doing this, doing that, giving so much charity, he doesn't even make a mistake. Some one cow decides to, or one calf decides to go from one herd to another herd. It's not even his fault. But the brahmanas get so fried out that they just curse him, and he loses all his punya like that. But the reason I was asking him was because even some statement was being made that even if the punya is exhausted, or like it depends on on pious activities, something along those lines, then that's why I was asking the question. But this uh, whatever devotional advancement we make, that is never affected by any amount of punya or papa. It transcends everything.
What did Charan Prabhu exactly say with that?
You can ask him.
I was mentioning that Prabhupada says Maya Sakta Manah Partha, that if we have attachment to the Lord, then even if someone doesn't have a punya, then they can render service to the Lord because they've heard about the Lord and they've gained some love for the Lord, and with that they perform some service. But generally speaking, they say that okay, if someone has some piety, they do some service to the Lord. Generally, if someone is very sinful, they cannot do any service to the Lord. They are atheists, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. Yeah.
So
I wanted clarification on that point. That's why I asked him what he was saying.
because
I
my
didn't.
understanding is also that if we do have piety, like for example, Punya Bhumi, you're born in India, you definitely have more of a chance to, you get a better chance to take up devotional service instead of if you're born in, Israel in the middle of the desert where you're Muslim or something, so where you're against Vedic culture. So is that right? That when you're born in Punya Bhumi, you do have a greater opportunity to take up devotional service.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's why distributing books to Indians is easier than distributing books to Americans. There's no doubt about that. But the point of clarification I was making was Prabhu was saying something along the lines that, your pious credits being exhausted or like something, depending something along those lines. So I just wanted him to clarify what he was saying. So I could, we could like remanage. I just wanted some clarification on the point that he was making. But yeah, of course, and you whatever pious activities you make, there's different types. We can even see that for someone to have as much money as they do in America, it's definitely some amount of pious activities, right? And we can even see that the residents of the superior and heavenly planets, they're also like, they're actually very pious, but it's devoid of devotional service, right? Like they're doing naga, they're worshiping nagas, they're doing this, they're doing that. There's something like what's it called? Bila Swarga is more opulent than Swarga itself, right? But there's some amount of piety is obviously there, but that piety is different from the piety even close to being associated with Vishnu.
Yeah.
It's a piety which is present, which is like antagonistic to Vishnu Bhakti.
Yeah.
You can even say like, hey, these Muslim countries are extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
They're born in a place where there's so much oil. There is some amount of piety. There's no doubt about that. But is that piety is antagonistic to Vishnu Bhakti? So that is punya, and then the other punya, which is like a synonym to sukriti. That's
The way we're
that
favorable to Vedic
they will
culture.
put a devotional service. Like, so many we can see like so many people like Hindus. The minute they see the devotees, they get so angry. You know,
I thought about piety specifically as that which is only favorable to Vedic culture.
No. You can see it, right? Like these guys are pious. How otherwise? How will they have so much oil, wealth, money? How will they have it? I mean, they did perform some pious activities to get this amount of karma, but that piety is antagonistic to Vishnu Bhakti.
Yeah, so is that Sukriti is where Sukriti is defined as specifically that piety which is favorable for Vedic culture.
Favorable for Vishnu Bhakti, right? That's Sukriti. Right? Because this one never goes away. It never goes away. Whatever kriti you're doing, it's true. It's eternal. You're never going to, it's never going to go away. It's eternally in your bank account. But these people, they're performing. They perform some punya. That's why they have so much wealth. To be born in a land where there's so much oil, to have such good looks, to enjoy so many women, right? They have all these facilities. Like some sinful guy cannot have so many facilities. Someone who was sinful in their past. They come, they bloat, and they're gone. That's it. Ravana also, Prabhu, he's not pious. You tell me, Ravana was not pious. Without being pious, he performed so many austerities, right? How did he get all these benedictions and boons, right? But that piety was antagonistic to Vishnu Bhakti.
Okay. All right, we gotta
Okay, all right, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.